Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're with us this morning. We've got a great show lined up. We've got a very special guest here in the studio. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. Run check out all the programs they have over there. Just a great opportunity to pick out a career. If you have a career and want to look at some other stuff, we got nursing over there and a great welding program, aviation. It's really, I'm sold on Haney Technical School. Now, the high today is going to be 77, low at 60, but water temperature has gotten back up there to 68. You know, it really dipped last week. It's going up it's going from 60 to 68 in a week's time. So that was just boom, boom, just like that. So we got some good fishing right ahead of us. The river readings, take a look at our Apalachicola near Bluntstown. Right there, this reading is taken right down the bridge down. I've showed you a picture before of that marker. But it's reading right now 8.4. It's going to drop out Friday just a little bit. You're looking at this weekend probably around 7 foot. The Choctahatchee at Caryville, it is this morning, it's low this morning at 5.3, but it's going to be rising. If you like to fish a rising river, this is going to be your weekend to do it. It's 5.3 right now, and it's going to kick on up there at about, looks like about 7 by the weekend. Okay, the tide chart brought to us by Kent, Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Their motto is when caring counts. They're located right here in Panama City on 23rd Street. Good folks over there and very capable jobs over there. Today is April the 2nd. You're looking at neap tides. We talked about this yesterday. We got about 4 days of neap tides. We really won't get into strong tides until next week, and we'll be getting close to that full moon. So be aware of that. These sheephead are doing real well. They're going to keep doing it until we get full moon coming up. All right. On the marine forecast south at 10 to 15. Okay. On the phone, once a week, I talk to Captain Blair Morgan, sponsored by Blue Water Outriggers, and find out what's going on the eastern end of the Panhandle Outdoors viewing area. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. What's going on your way?
Well, things were starting to get pretty good before that cold front last weekend, and that kind of shut everything down again. But it was kind of interesting. My neighbor, they rent kayaks, and he rented some kayaks to a guy and his son, and they went just out in front of his house, which is on the south end of Black's Island, and they came in with a limit of nice trout.
Wow.
Talking on popping corks, good on them.
Just popping cork with what do they have under it?
They had just a jig with gulp.
Good deal. Very
Yeah.
Good.
So that shows you the trout are in the bay, because, like I say, that's all the way on the south end.
Yeah, we've been waiting for them to kick off, so I think we're about right on the verge of it right now.
Yeah. But that cold front just set things back a little bit. But we got some pretty weather coming up, so it's going to bust loose any day.
Okay, that's the same thing happened over here. I talked to Kerry at the pier yesterday. He said it shut him down yesterday, last week at the pier. So, but that's behind us now. It's going to start warming up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds good, bud, and we'll be talking to you next week then.
Okay, Winston.
All right, thanks, Blair.
All right.
All right, Captain Blair Morgan of Blue Water Outriggers there, from Cape San Blas and covering Apalachicola and St. Joe Bay. Let's take a break and be right back with our special guest. Welcome back, and I told you to be a special guest this morning.
Good morning.
Hey, baby.
Happy to be here.
I know you are. We're happy to have you. Got to spend the night with us last night.
Yes, and that was fun. That's always fun, spend a night with the grandparents.
For those new viewers and all, this is my granddaughter Whitney. Most of you old timers know her, and y'all watched her grow up. I need one day to show that very first tape we took of you about that high throwing that cast net.
I remember that.
But I was talking the other day about the trip you and your family went on.
Yes,
to the Keys. So,
my whole family, we took a trip down to Marathon Key, Florida for spring break, and it was probably the best vacation I've ever been on, and we didn't even leave the state, and it was so much fun. I can't even describe how much fun we had.
All right, well, before we get into that, I know because I got a few pictures and all, but one of the things I was going to talk about was what have y'all been up to lately? Is the show's going strong?
Oh, yeah.
They're coming on every Sunday morning, and y'all got some new shows coming up and all that.
Right.
We'll talk about the new shows later. But I get a lot of good comments, and y'all put a lot of time into your editing and all that.
Yeah, I've just started recently. I've just started helping edit the show. So everything that you watch on Casting Call, just think of me whenever you watch the show and say, Whitney edited that, because it's a lot of hard work that we put into the show, and it all pays off whenever we get good feedback and sometimes negative feedback that builds us up. So there's always good and bad things that come from it, but it's a lot of fun.
And you're right. You build from all of that too. And I never had any idea how much time it took to edit until I got into this program and all. And Gail does, but Jeff, you know, our Jeff does a lot of editing on his own, 20, 25 hours a week. Just on, it takes a lot of time.
Oh yeah,
editing. It's not like, I don't care about all the computers and all. It still takes a lot of time. So
if you want it to be good too.
Yeah. And then you see these big shows on TV and these outdoor channels and all, and it's great photography, great editing. But then you look at those credits at the end of the show, and you see all these names where all these people worked on it, and they get paid full time for that.
Sound producers, editors, I mean, everything.
And so when you get a little rinky-dink show like mine and yours, it really makes me appreciate all the work y'all do. Let's look. Got a couple of pictures here. Now y'all went down. Y'all spent the whole spring break down at And y'all kind of funny stories on the way down. Y'all got in Sunday at noontime, then y'all came over, had supper with us Sunday night. And me and your grandmother just laughed at y'all because y'all were so excited. They were fighting over who's going to tell us the story.
I know. We were talking for probably almost 2 hours.
Yeah, telling us all the things that happened. But y'all went down. Your mom was. Tell us about your mom.
My mom, she's an 8th grade history teacher at Bay Haven, and every year their 8th graders take a trip to Williamsburg, Virginia with their history class. So my mom was in Williamsburg whenever we were leaving for Marathon. So she flew down early from Virginia to Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Okay, but on the way down, y'all stopped off in Union County and did what? We
turkey hunted, thanks to Michael Harris, who set us up with an awesome Osceola turkey hunt. We weren't successful, but we saw probably 40 birds. 2 jakes came in front of us probably about 60 yards, and we needed them 30 yards. But we got some awesome footage, and it's beautiful down there.
Yeah, it is. And so y'all spent a night with the family that was really an interesting family.
Oh yeah, the Crawfords. They were awesome. They were sweet, and they made awesome meals for us. Thank you, Mrs. Crawford.
And they don't have a television or
nope.
anything?
They took their television out in 1986, I think, and they said that was the best thing they could have ever done for their family. Their family bond was to take amazing. The TV out. And
so it's really interesting. That story right there is an interesting story. So y'all get down there. So your mom's going to fly. She's going to fly from Williamsburg down to Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and y'all are going to be down there and going to meet her at the airport and pick her up.
Right.
So tell us what happened on that situation about the airport.
Well, my mom, on her ticket, it said Fort Lauderdale, Miami/Miami. And that's 2 different airports, the Fort Lauderdale and the Miami International. So we got to Miami Airport about 5 hours early. So we decided to dilly-dally around Miami. We got groceries for the trip. We rode around, everything like that. And my mom calls us and she says that she's landed. So we go to the Miami International Airport and we say, all right, meet us at this hotel right outside of Miami. And she said, I don't know where you are. She had landed in the Fort Lauderdale airport, and we were in the Miami airport. And luckily it was only 30 minutes away, but we had stayed in Miami for 5 hours for no reason. So
y'all were on the phone talking, but y'all both were saying y'all were at the airport in a hotel, right?
Right. My dad said, all right, are you at the hotel? And she said, yes. There was 2 of the same hotels outside of Fort Lauderdale and Miami. She was at one, we were at the other. And she said, okay, I'm waiting outside. And we pulled up to the front, and we looked around, and she wasn't anywhere. So she said, well, I'm right here. And Dad honked his horn. He said, did you hear my horn? She said, nope. So we were at the wrong place.
That started off. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and come back and pick up this trip right here. Welcome back. So here with Whitney Woodrick from Casting Call Outdoors. We just know her as Whitney. So okay, so we got a couple of pictures and all. So y'all finally get everything together, and where do y'all stay down there?
We rented a house down there, right, basically smack in the middle of Marathon, and it was on a channel. So we put our boat in and we pulled it around and we kept our boat in the water for the whole week. So
and you towed your boat all the way down from there?
We put 27 hours on the boat down there.
On your boat, that's
so
neat.
we got our money's worth out of the boat that week.
Okay, look, let's look at a couple of pictures. We only got 3 or 4 episodes. Tell us about this one right here.
Okay, my mom, she said while we were down in Marathon, she said that it'd just be crazy not to go to Key West. She wanted to go to the southernmost point and she wanted to walk around, and I mean, so did we. We had a lot of fun down there. We spent a whole day down in Key West, which is about an hour and a half or an hour away from Marathon, and we visited the southernmost point.
Okay. All right, tell us about the Turtle Hospital.
About 2 minutes away from where we stayed, right up the road, was the United States' only certified turtle hospital. So we spent another day down at the Turtle Hospital. We went all through the hospital, got to meet all the turtles, got to learn all their conditions and why they're there and surgeries they've gone through, all their rehab, and we saw some of the rescues and everything. It was awesome.
I bet that was cool. I know Ashley
really
enjoyed that. What are these little bugs here?
All right, one of the biggest reasons that we went down to Marathon was because we had heard a bunch of tales about the lobstering and that it was awesome down there, and we had never done it before. So Mr. Tim Brock of Brock Pest Control loaned us all his family's lobstering gear, and we took it down there with us, and we lobstered, and we probably caught about 40 lobster, and these 3 were the only ones of legal size. So on like the 3rd or 4th day, we grilled them up and had some fresh caught lobster.
So you did have some fresh ones, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is just the last picture here. I sort of can't see it clear, but what are y'all doing here?
That is Ashley, and she is diving down in about probably 10 feet of water, and that's how you get the lobsters. Whenever you watch the show coming up this Sunday in 3 days, new season.
It's going to be this Sunday?
Yep.
Okay.
New season started yesterday of Cast and Call Outdoors, Season 3, and the new episode is going to be this trip. So whenever you want to see the whole story, be sure and watch it at 6:30 on Sunday mornings right here on Fox. And so that was our trip. It was amazing.
Well, tell us about trying to catch those lobsters. When y'all were little, I took y'all scallop, and then scallop down there, you swim down and pick up a scallop.
Right.
But it's different, right?
It's similar but different. Whenever you dive down, there's a bunch of grass and everything like it is whenever you scallop, but the lobsters aren't out in the open. They're under rocks and in holes and everything. So there's 2 pieces of main gear that you need, a net and this thing that we call a tickle stick. And you take the stick, it's got a hooked in, and you poke it behind the lobster. You put your net behind the lobster, and he shoots backwards, and he puts himself in the net, basically. But they are so slippery, and they can get out of the net so easily, and you'll see that in the show. I had trouble catching so many, but it's difficult, and it's really fun to catch them. And you see 2 antennae about this long sticking out of 2 holes, and you know they're in there.
So y'all only kept 3 out of 40?
Yeah. On the end of our tickle sticks, they've got a little measuring pole, and it has to, their carapace, their back shell has to be as long as that metal pole, and if it's not, then they're not legal, and only 3 out of 40 were legal. But that was plenty for us to eat, honestly. They have a lot of meat in their tail, but it was good.
So that was a fun experience.
Yes, sir. Lots of fun.
How deep of water were they in?
I would say around, probably the same as scallops.
Scalloping?
Yeah, 3 to 6 feet maybe.
What?
And so
Scalloping
awesome.
right around the corner too, and scallops every now and then try to swim away from you too.
I know, it's a lot like lobstering, seriously.
Yeah. Okay, so y'all also got to do a little bit of fishing. I mean, y'all did a little bit of everything.
We did do a lot of fishing. Down there's a lot of shipwrecks off the coast, and we went snorkeling around a bunch of shipwrecks, and there were fish I'd never even heard of or seen or anything. I mean, it was really cool. And we had the GoPro in our hand at all times. We have so much GoPro footage of us fishing, lobstering, snorkeling, I mean, all that stuff. So you guys will be able to see it. It was so neat.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you, I want you to read, I'm going to let you read this right here because I'm not changing the subject. We're going to come back to her, but we're going to, I've got, when you said fish, I thought about this picture. I want to show Michael and Mark Coward. I'm going to let you read this, about, and then we'll show the pictures. You read it, then I'll show the picture.
All right. Michael and I finished 7th in the Emerald Coast Redfish Pro Series tournament this weekend out of Pensacola. We had a 3-pound penalty for being 3 minutes late to the check-in point prior to weigh-in. 1 pound for each minute you're late. That 3 minutes cost us 2 spots. We would have finished 5th. Here's a couple of our fish from this weekend. Z-Man Fishing Products and Shrimps got the job done for us.
Okay, and there it is right there.
Wow.
See, that is a good job there. In fact, that's a picture over there. But
That's nice.
3 pound, what's that? 3 pound penalty
Right, pound a minute.
for 3 minutes, 1 pound per minute. Good job there. That's Michael and Mark Coward.
Yeah.
That's when he said fish, it reminded me I wanted to show their pictures today.
Yeah.
So let's go and take a final break. We'll come back and wrap this thing up. All right. Welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Sitting here with Whitney talking about the trip they had during spring break. And I've never been to the Keys one time myself. I was a college student and didn't have a. We had a great time. I wish I want to get back there pretty soon. And all.
Yeah.
Let's look at our fishing game forecast brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Mark's number is 832-6000. And honey, what's the time today?
11:31 a.m. to 1:31 p.m.
And that's only one time today. And what's going on is right there in the middle of the day again. And because you don't have a lot of tidal flow and all, and just a good time to go right in the middle of the day. All right, one of the things that you were talking about Sunday night at the supper table, y'all were talking about something that really interested me was the museum y'all went to.
Right.
Real quick about the museum. Before we do that, show your tattoo.
Okay, while we were in Key West, I forgot the name of the fruit, but it's a temporary tattoo, and you draw it on, the woman drew it on, and you leave it on for...
Is it a henna tattoo or whatever?
Right, this is similar to a henna tattoo. It's from a different fruit of a tree, and they get the juice out of the fruit, I guess, and make it and put it on your skin. And it's been on for a week and a half now, and it's supposed to stay on for like 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
And so it's pretty cool.
All right, so you got to wash your hands pretty soon.
I know.
All right, tell us real quick about that museum.
My mom is a history fanatic. I mean, that's just her thing. And so while we were in Key West, she wanted to go to the Mel Fisher Museum. And if you guys don't know who Mel Fisher is, he was a treasure hunter down in Key West, and he discovered the Atocha, which was a Spanish ship that it sank off the coast of Key West. And after 16 years of looking, he discovered millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of gold and silver and jewels and I mean just amazing stuff. So while we were in the museum, we got to see some of the relics, and my mom took pictures of the incredible jewels and gems and everything. I mean, it was incredible.
It was a great story. When I was a younger man, I followed Mel Fisher when he first came out, and I was able to when he found that. I mean, he took 16 years. He had some tragedy. He lost his son, and looking at his son and his son's wife, and all
drowned
they drowned.
while they were
an incredible story of a man just staying after a goal. And so I always want to go to the museum. So I'm glad y'all got to go there.
It was really neat.
Okay, you go to the Keys. You always think about sharks.
Yeah, while we were down there, the first time that we got in the water, my sister and I jumped in, and right as we jumped in, we looked down, and there were 2 hammerhead sharks right below us. They weren't big; they were about that big, but still, the first thing we saw was a shark. And it was actually kind of cool though, because once you jump in, you see these little baby sharks, and I'd never seen a hammerhead shark that tiny before, so it was kind of cool.
But they wouldn't bother. And one time, Ashley had one come out at her or something. Or was it one? It seemed like y'all told me one of them. She reached in there. Was that Ashley or Mason?
Oh, that was Ashley.
Yeah.
One time she reached in there, and we got it on video. I was accidentally filming, and we were lobstering, and she had her tickle stick and her net, and she was poking around in the holes, and she stuck the pole into the hole, and she was trying to get a lobster out, and this sand shark, probably about that long maybe, zipped right out right in front of my face, and I screamed so loud. I was screaming for probably 5 minutes after it happened. I was so scared.
I know that was scary.
It was.
Well, and a barracuda? Did I see a barracuda?
Mason, while the whole trip down there, he was like, "What if we see a barracuda? What if we see a barracuda?" I think he's watched Nemo too many times to be scared of the barracuda on there. But while we were down there, while we were snorkeling above a barge that had sunken, right as we were getting out of the water, Mason comes leaping out of the water into the boat, and he said, "There's a barracuda down there." So he said he saw a barracuda. I saw a few little baby ones, but they weren't anything special.
Okay, tell us about real quick about the hook in your dad's thumb.
Yes, sir. Okay. On top of us not getting to the right airport because of my mom, while we were dilly-dallying in Miami for 5 hours waiting on her to come to the Fort Lauderdale airport, my dad let us go to the grocery store to get groceries, and he stayed out with the boat, and he decided to start tying leaders for us on our fishing poles. And we come back outside, and he's got a hook in his thumb past the barb, and there was a Walgreens right next to the Winn-Dixie, and he went in there. And if you've ever been down to Miami and passed, there's not a lot of people who speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were down there, he was trying to speak Spanish to these people, asking, where's the hospital? Where is the place I can get this out? And he tried to go to the pharmacy in Walgreens, and they said they weren't going to touch it. So he went to McDonald's, and he put it in a cup of ice water, and he picked up my mom, and we drove all the way to Marathon. And right around the block from where we were staying in Marathon was a fisherman's museum. And a funny story that happened, a fisherman's museum. A fisherman's hospital.
Okay.
He went to the fisherman's hospital at around 11:30 or midnight, and it was past that actually once we got there. And he went there and he said, "I have a hook in my hand. Can you please get this out?" And as they were cutting it out, he said, "I'm sure you've done this a lot before." And the woman said, "Yep." And he turned around, and they had a whole wall of hooks that they had taken out of people's hands.
They collect a lot of
Yep.
hooks from that.
Especially down there.
It happens here. It happens a lot down there too.
Yes, sir.
So that started off. But he was okay after that.
Yeah, he was fine.
That was good. Well, we're gonna have to wrap things up. That sounded like a fun week of
It
spring
was
break.
awesome. It was really
And
fun.
y'all drove home and got halfway home, took a break, and went to a ball game. And then
Yep,
came.
we went to a Mets Nationals pre-season game.
All right.
It was a lot of fun.
Good way to spend spring break.
Yes, sir.
Outdoor stuff and with the family.
Yep, lots
Okay.
of fun.
Well, honey, thank you for getting up this early.
Thank you. I
Are you
enjoy
sleepy?
it. I'm not tired, actually. I love being on TV.
Good. You should come do my show about once or twice a week. Give me a break. Okay, so Castle Call coming on every Sunday morning.
At 6:30 right here on Fox. Be sure and watch it this week especially because you'll get to see the story that we just told.
All right. As always, I want to thank you for watching Panhandle Outdoors. Our viewing audience appreciate your viewership and your loyalty. And go check out our sponsors. You be sure to do something good for someone else. And God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.